Welcome to Sci-Fi Space. Before we starting today's wonderful story, take a second to check if you've subscribed. Because it's completely free and it is a huge motivation for us to create more great stories. In the sprawling chaos of the stellar trade nexus, a galactic commerce alliance that spanned countless star systems, the Horizon Drift space station stood as a testament to order and efficiency. It was a hub where hundreds of species traded goods, negotiated deals, and occasionally tried not to kill each other over profit margins. At the helm of this operation was Station Commander Klyra, a Vaxillan whose razor-sharp mind and steel-hard exoskeleton made her a natural leader. Vaxillans were known for their cold logic, their ability to calculate probabilities faster than most computers, and their unshakable calm under pressure. Klyra had spent decades building Horizon Drift into a model of interstellar success, with a crew handpicked for their precision and discipline. But lately, that success was slipping through her claws, and the reason was as infuriating as it was illogical: humans. Klyra despised humans. To her, they were a walking contradiction, fragile bags of water and bone that somehow survived conditions no sane species would endure. They needed constant hydration, shut down for hours at a time in a death-like sleep, and leaked fluid from their faces for reasons that defied explanation. By every metric of galactic biology, humans should have been extinct long before they stumbled into faster-than-light travel. Yet here they were, strutting through the Nexus like they owned it, flashing those creepy rows of teeth and shrugging off disasters that would have broken anyone else. Klyra had managed to avoid them for years, keeping her station human-free and running like clockwork. But the numbers didn't lie, and the numbers were starting to hurt. Horizon Drift's biggest rival, Nebula Reach, had recently pulled ahead in a trade game. Their delivery efficiency was up 25%, their maintenance costs were down, and their clients couldn't stop raving about it. The difference? Nebula Reach had hired a human. Investors were taking notice, whispering questions at shareholder meetings about why Horizon Drift wasn't keeping up. Klyra's inbox was flooded with reports comparing her station's performance to Nebula Reach's, each one a jab at her pride. She'd built her reputation on logic and results, and now some reckless, water-guzzling mammal was threatening to undo it all. "It's a fluke," she told herself, clicking her mandibles in irritation. But the data kept piling up, and the pressure from above grew louder. Her crew wasn't thrilled about the idea either. Navigator Selith, a gelatinous blob of a being with a brain that could map hyperspace routes in seconds, oozed disdain at the mere mention of humans. "They are unpredictable," Selith said, their voice a wet gurgle. "Their biology doesn't even make sense. How do they function with just two eyes?" Engineer Torg, a four-eyed technician who could spot a loose bolt from across the room, was just as skeptical. "They break everything they touch," he muttered, adjusting his toolkit with a clack of his claws. Security Chief Vorn, a hulking mass of armor and muscle, was the most vocal. "I'd rather guard a live reactor leak than babysit one of those things," he growled, his plates rattling with every word. The crew was a unit, a machine of interlocking parts, and they all agreed, humans didn't belong. But Klyra couldn't ignore the stakes. Horizon Drift's profit margins were dipping, and the Nexus wasn't kind to stations that fell behind. She'd seen competitors shut down, their crews scattered to backwater outposts, all because they couldn't adapt. The idea of hiring a human made her exoskeleton itch, but the alternative, losing everything she'd built, was worse. She called a meeting in the command center, her crew gathered around the holographic table, their faces a mix of dread and resignation. "We're being outpaced," she said, her voice flat but firm. "Nebula Reach has a human, and it's working for them. I don't like it any more than you do, but we need to stay competitive." The room erupted. Vorn slammed a fist on the table, cracking the edge. You want to bring one of those chaos monkeys aboard? They'll get us all killed. Selith's gelatinous form quivered, a puddle forming beneath them. Their risk tolerance is insane. Do you know they jump out of flying machines for fun? Torg crossed his arms, his compound eyes narrowing. I'm not fixing their messes. Last I heard, humans think tape is a solution to everything. Klyra raised a claw, silencing them. I'm not asking for your approval. I'm telling you what's happening. We're posting a job listing. 1 human, minimal requirements, maximum liability waivers. The argument didn't stop there. Vorn stormed out, swearing he'd quit before working with some soft-skinned disaster. Selith calculated a 40% chance of station-wide failure if a human joined. Their numbers spat out in a frantic hum. Torg just shook his head, muttering about the extra hours he'd have to pull. Klyra let them vent, her mandibles twitching with every complaint. She hated this as much as they did, but logic demanded action. Nebula Reach wasn't winning because of luck. They'd found an edge, and Klyra needed one too. She drafted the posting herself. Wanted, human crew member for Horizon Drift. Must lift 20 standard units, tolerate station conditions, and sign extensive waivers. No exceptions. She hit send, and the station's system pinged confirmation. Almost instantly, the crew's collective stress levels spiked. Monitors showed a 35% jump in anxiety readings. Klyra stared at the screen, her compound eyes reflecting the glowing text. She'd spent her career avoiding risks like this, building a team she could trust, a station she could control. Now she was inviting chaos incarnate aboard, all because some rival had beaten her at her own game. This better work, she muttered, her voice a low hiss. Her crew didn't know it yet, but this decision would test every ounce of their patience, and maybe their sanity. The stellar trade nexus thrived on order, but humans didn't play by those rules. Klyra had no idea what she was in for, and neither did her team. All she knew was that the galaxy was watching, and failure wasn't an option. The human was coming, whether they liked it or not. The airlock hissed open, and Jack Riley stepped onto Horizon Drift like he was walking into a bar after a long shift. He was tall for a human, with a scruffy beard and a beat-up duffel bag slung over one shoulder. His uniform was standard Stellar Trade Nexus issue, but he'd ripped off the protective outer layer, leaving just a thin shirt and pants between him and the station's recycled air. Klyra stood at the entrance, her mandibles clicking as she sized him up. He didn't look like much, soft skin, no armor, just 2 eyes blinking at her like he didn't have a care in the world. "Hey, I'm Jack," he said, sticking out a hand. "New ops specialist. Nice place you got here." Klyra froze. A handshake? Was this a threat or some weird human ritual? She ignored the gesture, her voice sharp. "I'm Commander Klyra. We sent you 20 safety protocols. Did you read them?" Jack shrugged, a lazy grin spreading across his face. "Scheme M. I'm pretty adaptable, don't worry about it." The words hit the crew like a live wire. Selith, hovering nearby, quivered so hard a glob of their gelatinous body splattered on the floor. Torg's 4 eyes narrowed, his claws twitching like he wanted to strangle something. Vorn, looming in the background, let out a growl that rattled the walls. "Adaptable," he snarled. "That's code for I'll break everything and call it fine." Jack didn't flinch. He dropped his bag with a thud and clapped his hands, the sound echoing through the docking bay. "So, where do I start?" he asked, like he hadn't just walked into a room full of people who wanted him gone. Klyra's exoskeleton creaked as she fought the urge to eject him right back through the airlock. "You'll be briefed," she said, her tone clipped. "But first, you're under observation. One wrong move, and you're out." Jack nodded, still grinning, and wandered over to a control panel, tapping it like it was a pet. The crew watched in horror as the panel beeped in protest. The briefing room was a war zone 5 minutes after Jack sat down. Klyra had gathered Seleth, Torque, and Vorn to lay out his duties: basic maintenance, cargo handling, nothing critical yet. But Jack's presence turned it into a shouting match. Vorn kicked things off, slamming his armored fist on the table. "This thing's a liability. He doesn't even respect the rules." Jack leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Rules are great till they slow you down," he said, casual as if he were ordering a drink. Vorn's plates clacked together, his voice rising. "Slow down? You'll get us killed speeding up, you soft-skinned idiot." Seleth jumped in, their voice a frantic gurgle. "I've run the numbers. A human on board increases our failure risk by 47%. They're reckless. Did you know they drink poison for fun?" Jack chuckled. "You mean coffee?" "Yeah, it's an acquired taste." The room went dead silent for a split second before Torque exploded. "Poison isn't a taste, it's a death sentence. What kind of species are you?" Jack shrugged again, infuriatingly calm. "The kind that's still here, I guess." Klyra's mandibles twitched so fast they nearly snapped. She'd seen arguments before, but this was personal. Her crew was unraveling, and Jack was the spark. It got worse. Jack stood up, stretched, and slapped the wall hard enough to make the lights flicker. "Solid build," he said, nodding approvingly. Vorn lunged, stopping inches from Jack's face. "Touch one more thing, and I'll rip those arms off." Jack didn't back down, just tilted his head. "You'd need better grip, big guy." The standoff lasted until Klyra barked an order, pulling Vorn back. "Enough. He's here, deal with it." "But you," she pointed at Jack, "stop acting like this is a playground." Jack raised his hands in mock surrender. "Sure, boss. Whatever you say." The crew didn't let it go. As Jack was escorted to his quarters, a cramped bunk with a dozen warning labels, Seleth trailed behind, muttering calculations. "He'll flood the station with water needs, overheat the vents with his heat output, collapse under our gravity." Jack cut them off. "I've lived in worse. Relax." Seleth oozed a puddle of distress and slunk away. Torque, meanwhile, cornered Klyra in the hall. "He's a walking malfunction. I'm not cleaning up after him." Klyra's voice was ice. "You won't have to if he's gone. Give him a week to prove himself, or hang himself." Vorn took it further. He stormed into the security hub, pulling up Jack's file on the holo screen. "Look at this, no combat training, no tech certs, just survival experience. He's a nobody." Klyra stared at the screen, her gut twisting. She'd hired him on a gamble, but Vorn was right, Jack didn't fit. Yet the pressure from Nebula Reach loomed, and she couldn't back out now. "He's a nobody who's here," she said. "Watch him. If he screws up, you've got my blessing to toss him out the nearest hatch." By the end of Jack's first shift, the crew's hatred was palpable. He'd wandered into the engine bay, poked at a coolant line, and asked Torque, "This thing always leak like that?" Torque nearly threw a wrench at him. "It's not leaking, it's venting. Get out." Jack left, whistling some tuneless song that grated on everyone's nerves. Seleth reported a 15% spike in crew stress levels, blaming Jack's unquantifiable chaos factor. Vorn started a petition to override Klyra's decision, half the station signing it within hours. Even the cleaning drones seemed to avoid Jack, buzzing away when he got close. Klyra stood alone in her office that night, staring at the job posting she'd sent. Jack Riley was everything she'd feared: arrogant, careless, a human through and through. Her crew was on the brink of mutiny, and she couldn't blame them. But Nebula reaches success not at her. If a human could turn their fortunes around, maybe Jack could too. She just had to keep him from breaking everything first. One week, she muttered, her claws tapping the desk. Then he's gone, or we are. 3 days into Jack Riley's stint on Horizon Drift, the station's plasma core decided to throw a tantrum. It started with a low rumble, the kind you feel in your bones before you hear it, then a screeching alarm ripped through the corridors. Plasma surge in Engine Bay 3, the system blared, red lights flashing across every screen. Klyra bolted to the command deck, her crew already scrambling into action. Selith's gelatinous form pulsed as they calculated the damage, 50% chance of a breach if it wasn't contained fast. Torg grabbed his tools, muttering about overloads, while Vorn barked orders to seal off the area. Jack, lounging near a cargo crate, perked up like it was game time. "Sounds fun," he said, cracking his knuckles. Klyra didn't have time to babysit. "Evacuate the section," she snapped over the comms. "No one goes in until we stabilize it." The plasma core powered half the station: lights, air, gravity, and a blowout would gut Horizon Drift. Torg patched into the diagnostics, his 4 eyes darting between readouts. "It's a valve failure. Pressure's spiking, 5 minutes till it blows." Klyra's mandibles clicked hard. She ordered Selith to reroute power and Vorn to lock down the blast doors. Jack, though, had other plans. Before anyone could stop him, he grabbed a handheld extinguisher from the wall and bolted toward the engine bay. "What the hell are you doing?" Klyra shouted into her comms, her voice sharp enough to cut steel. Jack's reply crackled back, calm as ever. "Saving your station, boss. Chill." Vorn roared, charging after him, but Jack was already through the hatch. Inside, the air was thick with heat and static, plasma arcing like lightning across the walls. The valve was a glowing mess, spewing blue fire. Jack didn't hesitate. He aimed the extinguisher and sprayed, dodging sparks like he was in a bar fight. The flames shrank, then died, leaving a charred valve and a haze of smoke. He tapped his comms. "All good. You're welcome." The crew didn't see it that way. When Jack strolled back to the command deck, Vorn was waiting, fists clenched so tight his armor creaked. "You disobeyed a direct order," he bellowed, stepping into Jack's face. "That stunt could have blown us all to scrap." Jack didn't blink, just wiped soot off his hands. "Didn't, though. Fixed it faster than your plan." Vorn lunged, aiming a punch that could have dented a bulkhead. Jack sidestepped, and Vorn's fist smashed into a control panel, sparking a flurry of error alerts. "Stand down," Klyra yelled, shoving between them. Her eyes burned into Jack. "You don't run off like that. Ever." The argument exploded from there. Torg stormed in, waving a scanner. He didn't even check the pressure levels. That extinguisher could have triggered a chain reaction. Selith oozed up, their voice a frantic hum. "I've recalculated. His actions raised our failure odds to 62%. He's a statistical nightmare." Jack leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Odds don't mean much when it works. You're still breathing, right?" Vorn spun on him, plates rattling. "You're a reckless punk. I oughta throw you out an airlock. Jack smirked. Try it. Bet I'd bounce. Klyra's patience snapped. Enough, she barked, her voice echoing off the walls. Jack, you're on probation, confined to quarters until I say otherwise. Vorn, back off, or you're next. Vorn glared, his breath hot and heavy, but he stepped back. Jack shrugged, heading for the door. Fine by me. Wake me up when you need something else fixed. The room seethed as he left, the crew's anger boiling over into a shouting match. Vorn turned on Klyra. You're letting him walk? He's a loose cannon. Torque piled on. I'm not working with someone who thinks rules are optional. Seleth just quivered, muttering about unpredictable variables. The fallout split the crew down the middle. Vorn rallied half the security team, demanding Jack's immediate expulsion. He's a threat to every system we've got, he growled, pacing the security hub. One lucky break doesn't make him a hero. Torque sided with him, refusing to touch the engine bay until Jack was gone. I'm not risking my neck for his ego, he said, slamming his tools down. Seleth, though, hesitated. He did stop the surge, they admitted, their voice shaky. But the risk, it's illogical. Klyra stood in the eye of the storm, her mind racing. Jack had saved them, sure, but at what cost? Her authority was fraying, and the station felt like a powder keg. Later, in her office, Klyra pulled up the surge report. Jack's fix had worked, pressure was stable, no casualties. But he'd ignored every protocol, acted alone, and turned her crew against her. She slammed a claw on the desk, denting it. He's a damn liability, she muttered. Yet Nebula Reach's success flashed in her mind. Humans got results, chaos or not. She calmed Vorn. Double his watch. He steps out of line again, he's gone. Vorn grunted approval, but she could hear the edge in his voice. He'd take any excuse to snap. By shift's end, the station buzzed with tension. Jack's stunt had saved the day, but it lit a fuse. Vorn sharpened his claws, Torque ran diagnostics like a man possessed, and Seleth's stress puddles clogged the vents. Klyra stared at the flickering lights, her gut twisting. Jack was a wrench in her machine, and the machine was starting to crack. One more chance, she told herself, her mandibles tight. Then he's out, or we all are. A week after the plasma surge, Horizon Drift faced its next test, a routine maintenance check that went sideways fast. Torque was in the engine bay, tweaking a power relay, when a short circuit sparked a plasma flare-up. The flames roared to life, licking the walls and trapping Torque behind a wall of heat. Alarms screamed through the station, and Klyra's voice crackled over the comms. All hands, emergency in engine bay 2. Contain it, now. Seleth rerouted power from the bridge, their gelatinous form trembling, while Vorn grabbed a suppression kit and charged toward the scene. Jack, confined to quarters, heard the chaos through the walls and didn't wait for permission. He kicked his door open and ran. By the time Jack got there, Torque was pinned, his toolkit melted into slag, one claw caught under a fallen beam. The air shimmered with heat, plasma arcing wildly. Vorn arrived seconds later, shouting, "Stay back, human. You'll make it worse." Jack ignored him, spotting a coolant pipe overhead. He climbed a shaking scaffold, ripped the pipe loose with his bare hands, and aimed the spray at the fire. Blue mist hissed out, choking the flames, but a stray spark hit Seleth, who'd followed to help. They shrieked, a chunk of their bodies sizzling off, and collapsed near the door. Jack didn't stop. He dropped down, shoved the beam off Torque, and hauled him out, his shirt singed and skin red from the heat. The aftermath was a shouting match for the ages. Klyra stormed into the med bay where Torque was patched up, her mandibles snapping. "You were confined, Jack. What part of that don't you get?" Jack, leaning against the wall with a burned arm, shrugged. Torque was toast. "I wasn't gonna sit there." Vorn exploded, shoving Jack so hard he stumbled. "You're a menace. You hurt Seleth, you disobeyed orders, again." Jack straightened, eyes hard. "I saved your engineer. Cry about it later." Torque, bandaged but alive, cut in, his voice hoarse. "He's right. I'd be dead without him." The room froze. Torque's words hung like a bomb waiting to blow. Vorn wheeled on him. "You're defending this clown? He's why we're in this mess." Torque stood, wincing. "No, the relay failed. He fixed it, faster than we could have." Seleth, patched up with a Regan gel, gurgled weakly. "He acted, illogically. But the outcome, probability of survival increased 30% because of him." Vorn's plates rattled, his voice a growl. "You're both insane. He's a walking disaster." Klyra raised a claw, silencing them. "Jack, you're still on probation. One more screw up, and you're gone. Everyone else, back to stations." The crew split like a cracked hull. Vorn rallied his security team in the hub, slamming a fist on a console. "He's a plague. Torque's soft, and Seleth is delusional. I say we lock him up now." Half the guards nodded, fists clenched, ready to drag Jack out. But Torque limped to the engine bay, gathering his techs. "He pulled me out of hell," he told them, voice firm. "I don't like him, but he's got guts." A few techs murmured agreement, their eyes flickering with grudging respect. Seleth, back at the bridge, ran numbers alone, muttering, illogical, but effective. A paradox. The station buzzed with division, half wanted Jack gone, half saw something worth keeping. Klyra called an emergency meeting that night, the crew packed into the command deck, tension thick as plasma smoke. Vorn kicked it off, pointing at Jack. "He's a threat. He hurt Seleth, broke every rule, we can't trust him." Jack, arms crossed, fired back. "I saved Torque. You'd rather lose him than bend your precious rules." Torque nodded. "I'm here because of him. That's a fact." Seleth's voice piped up, shaky. "His methods defy logic, but the data, he shifts odds in our favor." Vorn slammed the table. "Odds? He's a coin flip, heads we live, tails we die." The room erupted, voices overlapping, half shouting for Jack's head, half defending him. Klyra's head pounded. She banged a claw on the table, silencing them. "I've had it," she snapped. "Jack, you're a pain in my ass. You've got no discipline, no sense, and you're tearing my crew apart. But you've saved us twice." She glared at Vorn. "You want him gone? Prove he's a net loss, not just a rule breaker. Until then, he stays." Vorn's eyes burned, but he backed off. Jack smirked. "Fair enough. I'll keep pulling your butts out of the fire." The meeting ended with glares and muttering, the crew filing out in factions, Vorn's loyalists versus Torque's converts, Seleth stuck in the middle. Alone in her office, Klyra pulled up the incident logs. Jack's actions were reckless, ripping a pipe, ignoring orders, injuring Seleth, but the results were undeniable. Torque was alive, the fire was out, and the station still stood. She rubbed her mandibles, exhaustion creeping in. He's a damn wild card, she muttered. Nebula Reach's success loomed in her mind. Humans were chaos, but chaos that worked. She calmed Vorn. He's on a leash. You see him slip, you've got my green light. Vorn grunted. Good. He won't last. By morning, the station was a powder keg. Vorn sharpened his grudge. Torg quietly thanked Jack over a repair job, and Selith's calculations flickered with doubt. Klyra watched it all, her gut twisting. Jack was splitting her team, but he was also proving something. Humans didn't just survive, they dragged everyone else along. She didn't trust him, didn't like him, but she couldn't deny the shift. One more test, she told herself. Then we'll see who's right. 2 weeks after the plasma fire, Horizon Drift was coasting through a quiet sector when the universe decided to up the ante. A pirate frigate dropped out of hyperspace, its cannons blazing, hammering the station's shields with ion blasts. Alarms wailed as the hull shuddered, and Klyra's voice cut through the chaos. All hands, battle stations. Shields at 60%, hold them off. Selith's gelatinous fingers flew across the NAV console, plotting an escape vector, while Torg raced to reinforce the shield generators. Vorn manned the defense grid, snarling as he fired back, but the pirate's ship was too fast. Jack, lounging in the cargo bay, heard the first explosion and bolted for the bridge. The situation was grim. The pirates had jammed comms, no distress signal could get out, and their barges were shredding the shields. 10 minutes till breach. Selith gurgled, their form quivering. Torg's voice crackled over the comms. Generators are overheating, I can't boost them. Vorn's cannons scored a few hits, but the frigate danced out of range, relentless. Klyra's mandibles clicked furiously as she barked orders, her mind racing for a way out. Jack burst onto the bridge, breathless. I've got a plan, he said, eyes glinting. Use the backup core frigate for an EMP burst. Knock their systems dead. Vorn spun on him, plates rattling. That's suicide. Overload the core, and we're toast. Jack didn't flinch. Not if I vent the excess manually. Trust me. Klyra hesitated. Jack's plans always sounded insane, but the shields dropped to 40%, and options were thin. Do it, she snapped. But if we blow, it's on you. Vorn lunged, grabbing Jack's arm. You're not touching that core. You'll kill us all. Jack yanked free, glaring. Stand there and die, then. I'm saving this dump. Vorn roared, swinging a fist, but Klyra shoved him back. Let him try, or we're done. Jack sprinted to the engine bay, dodging debris as the station rocked. Torg met him there, 4 eyes wide. You sure about this? Jack grinned, grabbing a wrench. Nope. Help me anyway. They ripped open the backup core's casing, rerouting power to the emitter array. Jack climbed inside, hands steady despite the sparks, and patched the circuits while Torg vented plasma through a side valve. The station groaned, lights flickering, as the core hummed to life. Over the comms, Vorn's voice boomed. He's overloading it. Stop him. A pipe burst near Jack, scalding his leg, but he kept going, slamming the last connection in place. Hit it, he yelled. Klyra punched the command, and a pulse erupted from Horizon Drift, a silent shockwave that lit up the void. The pirate ship went dark, engines dead, weapons silent, drifting helplessly. The crew held their breath as the station's systems rebooted, lights blinking back on. Shields holding at 15%, Selith reported, voice shaky. There, neutralized. Torque limped out of the engine bay, Jack behind him, leg burned but grinning. Told ya, Jack said, wiping sweat off his face. Vorn stormed in, fists clenched. You almost fried us. That valve blew because of you. Torque stepped up, cutting him off. No, it blew because I missed a seal. He got us through. Vorn's eyes narrowed, but he didn't swing. Klyra's voice sliced through the tension. Damage report now. Seleth rattled off stats, hull intact, core stable, pirates dead in the water. Jack's plan had worked, but the cost was clear scorched panels, a limping engineer, and a crew on edge. Vorn glared at Jack. Luck, not skill. You're still a loose cannon. Jack shrugged. Call it what you want. We're alive. The argument simmered down, but the rift didn't heal. Vorn retreated to the security hub, muttering about human insanity, his team nodding along. Torque stayed in the engine bay, quietly thanking Jack as they patched the valve. You're nuts, but you saved my ass again, he said, clapping Jack's shoulder. Seleth approached Klyra on the bridge, their voice soft. His odds defy logic, 87% chance we'd have lost without him. Klyra's mandibles twitched. He's a wrecking ball. But he hits the right targets. She didn't like it, but the proof was staring her down. That night, the crew gathered in the mess hall, an uneasy truce settling in. Vorn sat apart, sharpening a blade, his silence louder than any rant. Torque raised a cup to Jack, a rare nod of respect. To the guy who doesn't die, he said, half smirking. A few techs chuckled, tension easing slightly. Seleth slid over, offering Jack a data pad. Your chaos, it's quantifiable now. I'm adjusting my models. Jack laughed. Glad I'm useful. Klyra watched from the corner, her claws tapping. She calmed Vorn later. He's reckless, but he's earned a stay. You still watching him? Vorn grunted. Yeah. One slip, he's mine. By morning, the pirates were towed off, and Horizon Drift limped on. Jack's stunt had saved them, and the crew couldn't deny it. Vorn's hatred cooled to a simmer, Torque's respect grew roots, and Seleth's doubts softened. Klyra stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. He's a damn curse and a cure, she muttered. The station was intact, the crew was breathing, and Jack was still Jack, grinning through the burns. She didn't trust him fully, didn't like him much, but she couldn't argue with results. Temporary, she told herself. We'll see how long it lasts. The pirate threat was gone, and Horizon Drift buzzed with a rare calm. The crew patched the hull, Torque's techs humming as they worked, while Seleth recalibrated systems with a quiet hum. Jack lounged in the cargo bay, poking at a crate labeled salvage, pirate vessel. Klyra stood on the bridge, watching repair drones swarm outside, her mandibles finally still. Victory felt good until Jack's voice crackled over the comms. Hey, boss, found something cool. Check this out. Before she could respond, a low hum pulsed through the station, then a blinding flash lit the sensors. Klyra raced to the cargo bay, Vorn and Torque on her heels. Jack stood over a sleek, glowing device from the pirate ship, wires dangling where he'd tinkered. Think it's a weapon, he said, grinning. Let's test it. Vorn lunged. Don't touch that. Too late. Jack flipped a switch, and the hum spiked to a scream. Alarms blared, critical energy surge detected. Evacuate immediately. Seleth's voice shrieked over the comms. It's a collapse bomb, 30 seconds to detonation. Klyra's gut dropped. Jack, what did you do? He blinked, smile fading. Oops. Chaos erupted. Klyra barked, all hands, escape pods now. The crews scrambled, Vorn shoving past Jack with a snarl. Torg grabbed tools, hesitating as Jack bolted for a pod. Seleth oozed to the bridge exit, yelling, 15 seconds. The station trembled, lights exploding in showers of sparks. Klyra hit the evac alarm, her claws digging into the console. Pods launched one by one. Torg's, Vorn's, Seleth's rocketing into the void. She dove into the last pod, glancing back. Jack was gone, no pod trail behind him. The bomb detonated, a silent fireball swallowing Horizon Drift whole. The crew regrouped on a salvage tug hours later, staring at the debris field. Vorn punched a wall. He killed it. That idiot killed us. Torg shook his head, voice low. He saved us from the pirates first. Seleth's data pad flickered. Survival odds were 92% with him until that. Klyra found a message in her comms, Jack's voice, sorry for the mess. Good luck out there. No trace of him in the wreckage, hero or saboteur, he'd vanished. The tug's crew whispered his name, tales already spreading. Horizon Drift was gone, but the crew lived, their reputation soaring as the pirate slayers who cheated death. Klyra gripped the message, mandibles tight. Jack was chaos incarnate, savior 1 minute, destroyer the next. The galaxy learned fast, humans weren't just tough, they were unpredictable as hell. Every commander wanted one, feared one, because they'd turn the tide or burn it all down. Jack's legacy was a riddle, courage or madness. The crews survived, but the cost taught them humans were a gamble no one could call. That's it for this insane ride on Sci-Fi Space. Did Jack save the day or doom them all? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I read every one. If you love this, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell for more galactic madness. Next time, we're tackling Rogue Ace. See you there.